Hello, everyone. I'm not for sure what Rodney was doing right there. I'm not for sure, but he had some kind of photograph. Did you have us a drawing of someone?
I did. It was a picture of you. I knew people thought, well, Britt's there on there twice. It's very detailed.
That's very mean. Very mean. By the way, welcome everyone to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. This is our top 100 series. But before we get to the top 100 series, Jack, we had another of one of our greats pass away today.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jody Hamilton, known to the wrestling world as the Assassin, passed away today. He had been in ICU for about a week or so. He had come out, got in a regular room, was supposed to go to rehab, and his son Nick Patrick, was hopeful, as we all were, that he was on his way to mend and still going to be with us a while. And then yesterday took a turn for the worst, and hospice was called in, and he passed away a little after lunch today.
He was truly one of the greats. For those folks who may not know who Jody Hamilton is, he is the masked assassin. Also was one of the Bolos back in the early days, and also the Flame for Southeastern and Continental Championship Wrestling. Tremendous wrestler, and he had such a distinguishing voice when he would do his interviews. Just tremendous. Rodney, thoughts on Jody Hamilton?
Yeah, great man, great wrestler. Certainly someone that had been emulated throughout his career. It was amazing how many people patterned themselves after him, ripped him off in lots of cases. But it was tremendous wrestler, tremendous family. Nick is awesome, and then of course our prayers go out to Nick and all the Hamilton family.
Is there any other news we need to talk about, Jack, before we move on to the top 100 wrestlers? I think we're at number 89, by the way, right?
Yeah, I think we covered all the top news yesterday's program. So
yeah, a lot of things went on. Okay, now top 100 wrestlers. Number 89, Tatsumi Fujinami for me. One of the greats in Japan. Also got a good following in the United States for a quick moment. Let me read just a little bit, if I can find my thing. Right here. Let me read just a little bit about him. And Fujinami began his in-ring career at the age of 17. His mentor, Antonio Inoki, took him under his wing and taught him what he needed to know to be successful in the industry. Fujinami was a star in Japan, and he had success on the international scene as well. He would compete in Mexico before finding his way to the United States, where he would make his Worldwide Wrestling Federation debut in the late 1970s. There he would capture the promoter's junior heavyweight championship by defeating Jose Estrada just 3 days into his title reign. Evidently, Jose was just the transitional person, whoever had held it beforehand, which could have been a Mil Mascaras. I don't know for sure. Back in his home country, Fujinami focused on the IWGP Championship, a title his mentor Inoki had vacated. It was at that time that a rival with Big Van Vader ignited, leading to several extremely hard-fought, hard-hitting bouts over the Covenant title. Fujinami would make a name for himself during this period, trading the title back and forth with Vader while also engaging with fellow iconic Japanese superstar Riki Choza. Is that how you say that name?
Chosu, I'm fine.
And a series of bouts. Fans back in the States became acquainted with Fujinami once more, this time when he engaged Nature Boy Ric Flair in a rival of the National Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Championship in 1990. In Tokyo, he made history by defeating Flair, thus becoming the first man to ever hold the NWA and the IWGP championships at the same time. The March 21st, 1991 would set up pay-per-view would set up a huge rematch at the Super Brawl pay-per-view. Flair would gain the title at that show. Dubbed the Dragon, Fujinami proved to be an innovative performer between the ropes, creating both the Dragon Sleeper and the Dragon Suplex. Over the course of his career, Fujinami battled some of the greatest stars to ever lace up a pair of boots. And if you've not seen any matches of him, you're missing out on a tremendous wrestler, Fujinami. Jack, what do you think about Fujinami?
Oh, I thought he was tremendous in the ring. Well deserved to be in any top 100 list.
Rodney?
Yes, I concur with Jack. Just a tremendous wrestler. Does I need to go?
Concur with me, but hey, that's all.
Do what now?
Hey, evidently you don't concur with me, but you can concur.
I did not concur. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I've got a picture of him here in my workout room here.
Yes, that was a Super Brawl show, wasn't it?
That is correct. So yeah, I'm not besmirching the man. I think that you would like me to besmirch him, but I'm not going to besmirch him. That was Mil Mascaras. No, not Tatsumi Fujinami.
That's a whole different level of besmirch.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Rodney was okay with it. Okay, let's start with Rodney, number 89 on your list.
I'm going to go with Phil Hickerson. Phil Hickerson, big man. I would say nearly about 280 pounds. He could move for a big man, and tremendous success throughout Tennessee for Nick Goulas, Jerry Jarrett. That's who I've got. Phil Hickerson.
I watched some video today of Phil Hickerson teaming with Al Green.
Yes.
Against Don and Ron Bass with their manager Sam Bass. Great matches, by the way. All you have to do is put 1970s pro wrestling, and that will come up. The whole Memphis wrestling. There's about 2.5 hours of it. Good stuff. Jackie Fargo, Roughhouse Fargo. If you've never seen Roughhouse Fargo, great place to go see what he was all about. Jack, what do you think about Phil Hickerson?
I thought Phil was great. I never got to see him live or even, when he was one of the top guys. I just got to go back by the magic of YouTube and see some of his stuff years later. But I thought he was great.
Dennis Condrey, Phil Hickerson, great tag team, by the way.
Yep.
Great matches during the 1970s. I don't know that. Is there any videos of them teaming with each other?
I have not found
Yes, there is. I've talked about it a few weeks ago. Phil Hickerson, Dennis Condrey against Tojo Yamamoto and Tommy Rich from Boutwell Auditorium. Check it out. It shows Hickerson and Condrey in all their greatness, and as well as Tojo and the shoe.
We'll have to find that link and put it up.
Have y'all seen that Memphis wrestling? Have you seen that? What I'm talking about that has that it starts out with Bobo Brazil against Jerry Lawler. Have y'all watched that whole 2 hours?
I don't think I have. No, I have not.
I would like to know what years that was, because we were told in a book told us that Birmingham wasn't drawing, but the Birmingham I saw had some packed houses, and the Chattanooga that I saw had some packed houses. So I'd just like to know what year that was. I know it's the 70s. I know it's the 70s, but I'm just wondering what year that was. I'm not for sure. Maybe it might have been 74, 75, but they was drawn in Chattanooga and Birmingham.
There's another great match with Phil Hickerson and I believe it's Don Green or Al Green against Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto. And Tojo does the Fargo strut, and it's awesome. You got to check this out. It's a great match.
Great person, Phil Hickerson. For those of you who've don't know who he is, go look him up. Tremendous wrestler.
Tremendous draw wherever he went.
Didn't he wrestle at the end as P.Y. Chung or P.Y. Chang or something like that?
I believe so.
Memphis.
Yeah.
I thought he did. With Tojo as his manager. I never saw that, but I want to maybe we need to go back and watch that as well. All right, Jack, number 89 on your list.
Number 89 for me has already been mentioned by both of you, I believe. Jerry Stubbs.
Jerry Stubbs. Yes, I think Jerry Stubbs is one of the greatest. I had seen, and I have said this before on several other shows, that Jerry Stubbs is in my top 10 of matches that I've ever watched. And one of them was Jerry Stubbs and Brad Armstrong. And then the other was Jerry Stubbs, Dirty White Boy against the Nightmares. Some of the best matches I ever saw. Rodney?
Oh, Jerry is definitely on my list. Oh, did I mention that? I did. He's definitely on my list.
Said he was on his list.
He is.
Almost.
Honestly, Jerry is. He is. Should have been a huge star, and I believe he would have been if it wasn't for his health issues. And he was a success everywhere he went. He really was, and there's nothing he could not do. Absolutely nothing he could not do.
All right, let's go to our insiders now. Joel Bateman is with us. Hello, Joe. How are you doing? Victor Nash, he sends his rest in peace to the assassin as well and tells everyone hello. Rick Brooks is with us. Chaplain Freddie Rooster Roper. Man, I always have a problem with that thing. That name. I love your name, but man, it's a tongue twister. You'd say it real fast, you might say something you ain't supposed to. Hi, guys. Rest in peace, Jody Hamilton, the assassin. Prayers for the family and friends. Glenn Allen as well. Donald Owens as well. Hey, did people ever say, "Hey, Don, how was promoting wrestling back in the Oregon days?" I wonder if anybody ever asked him that. Because everybody puts an S on Owen's name, and there was no Owen. It was just like Don Owen. There was no S in the end of that name. I think Glenn Allen, we might have already said hello to. Greg and Victoria Hodge is with us. How are y'all doing? Good evening to you. Joel Bateman, also my sincere condolences to the Hamilton family. Jason Mundy, rest in peace, Mr. Hamilton. Prayers for his family. All-time great. He will be missed, and was in the professional wrestling business a very long time. Michael Barr, sorry to hear about the passing of Jody Hamilton. Prayers to Lucy Lewis, wife of Mike Woody, as she is in the hospital as well. So let's pray for her as well.
Mike wrestled around the Kentucky area, and he's one of the premier mask makers out there now.
Oh, okay. So he makes that. That's
really, really good, high quality mask. I really recommend mine.
Rita Cantrell, prayers for the Hamilton family. Mickey Mayfield, also rest in peace, Jody Hamilton. He is a true icon. Yes, I would agree with that. He is a. By the way, next Monday night, we'll do a whole tribute show on Jody Hamilton right here live. So. Be with us and watch that next Monday night. Rest in peace, Jody. Prayers for the family. Chris Studdard. Charles Bellflower. He's 89. Joel Deaton. Outlaw Joel Deaton. Had some great matches. And again, if you don't know who he is, go look him up. A lot of good Japanese Japanese matches that he had when he went over to Japan. Some great matches there. A lot of good stuff that you can see. I think it's part of Deep South Wrestling. I think he wrestled for Jody Hamilton back in the day. Mm-hmm. What do y'all think about Joel Deaton, Jack?
Man, I love Joel. I mean, I've known Joel personally for years and years. Done a lot of shows with him. One of the toughest guys that you'll meet. And just a real pro. In fact, he wrestled in Japan just a few years ago. They had I don't mean to make him seem old, but they had an old timers battle royal over there that he participated in with a lot of the older Japanese stars and did great there. And of course, we all know he had that stroke a couple of years ago, but he's on his way back.
Good to hear. Rodney, Joel Deaton.
Oh, fantastic. He was one of the Thunderfoots, would he not?
Yes,
one of the Thunderfoots. Yeah, he was great. We loved to work with him. Saw him up in the Kansas City when we were up there, and they were the Thunderfoots. They were good, very good.
Brian Deaton, I think, was his brother's name.
Yes, yeah, and they were good, and they should have gotten a better push, really. In fact, a lot of those guys that were up there with us. I think had an opportunity.
Maybe the bright green tights might have stopped him a little bit.
Well, I don't think your tights is what actually stops a person from being. And if your tights was the problem, then.
But didn't they have bright green tights?
They had different colors, and they did have the green ones, but they also had the black ones. So I don't think that has to do with color of their tights. I think that honestly that whole thing in Kansas City was a waste. And think about it. We had Sam Houston up there, Yoshi Khan, who should have really been pushed better. Warlord finally did. But there was tremendous talent. Now the Mod Squad was up there, but I honestly think the Deatons were actually better than.
Oh yes, we could have done a whole lot better with them than the Mod Squad. Let's see. Hello everyone. Rest in peace, the assassin. My number 89, the Mask Superstar. Well, we know what, Jack. We've heard that that's the reason he wanted to become a wrestler, was the Masked Superstar. We've talked about him before. Tremendous athlete, tremendous wrestler. By the way, Jack, has he gotten better?
He has. He was able to make an appearance at one of the fan fests, I think, in the Carolinas a couple of weekends ago.
Oh, good. I always liked him. He's always a good guy.
Oh, yeah. Love Bill.
And was a tremendous wrestler. Understood the wrestling business. Did not have a problem putting people over. He knew what the wrestling business was.
Bill in wrestling too were some of those guys. You know how they always tell you don't meet your idols, you'll be disappointed. Both two and Bill were the exact opposite. They were everything that you would hope they would be outside that ring. Just great people. There's other names we could mention that did not, and I won't. So
that's for a different program.
Yeah.
Greg and Victoria Hodge, Hiro Masuda, and that is true. What a tremendous wrestler that he was. He was a wrestler too. He's not what we would consider a performer. He was a wrestler. Could whip anybody at any time. What do you think, Rodney? Hiro Masuda?
Oh yeah, and a great trainer. Matsuda. It was awesome wrestler. Tremendously big in Florida, and Matsuda would certainly be on there.
Jack, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I never got an opportunity to meet him, but people who trained with him, who worked with him, I rarely hear anything negative about Hiro. In fact, especially the ones who trained under him have the greatest level of respect for him. He was tough. He made you earn your spot.
Yes, he did. There's no doubt. Robert Welch, I don't know what he's talking about here, but he said, hello, all. What I got it right this time compared to yesterday. Was he late? Is that what his problem was?
I think he must have missed the show yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's possible.
Donald Owen said, love this show. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Donald.
And we certainly appreciate it. Glenn Allen Shelton says, David Von Erich. Got a tremendous wrestler. I know a lot of people, when they were getting him ready to be the world heavyweight champion, because he was going to become the NWA world champion. Now, I don't know if it was long-term, short-term. I'm not for sure of that. But they was going to make him NWA world champion. They had sent him to Florida, and if you can go watch, you can watch it. You can watch him be a heel, and he was very good at that in Florida. I think he would have been very good as a world champion going from town to town. So it's just a missed opportunity. And I think David Von Erich would have drew a lot of money. He was doing a lot of hour Broadways, time limit draws for those people. He was doing all those things in all the towns. He would go to Kansas City, and I think almost everybody won the Missouri title before they became the world heavyweight champion. So it just almost everybody that had the title, except for Ric Flair. I'm not for sure Ric Flair ever held the Missouri title.
Yes, he was.
Did he have the Missouri title as well? Most everybody won that title. So if you knew they were brought there and they won that title, because I'm pretty sure David Von Erich was the Missouri.
He was.
So that was always
a good looking belt. Have you not seen the Missouri State belt? It was a good looking belt. Very reminiscent of the Georgia Championship. It was very good.
I don't know that David Von Erich made my list. I don't know, Jack. Is he in your list? I know we can't ask Rodney, but
let me look. He may or may not be on that list. Yes.
I'm going to have to be honest. I don't remember if David is on my list or not. He certainly deserves to be on the top 100 list, though.
Yes.
Of all the brothers, I would put him on the list first.
He was the wrestler's wrestler, if you would, taking the thing from Brian Young's book, The Wrestler's Wrestler. So,
and from what I understood, he had a great mind for the business too. So if he had not passed, I think he would have wound up being in that top booking position for his father, and that might have made a huge difference for world class entirely.
Yeah, and I think that if he was sick going to Japan, even prior to getting to going to Japan, he didn't want to go to Japan because he was sick prior to that, throwing up for almost a week before he flew there. Just being sick there probably didn't help, and I think he had a rupture or something, didn't he?
Something, yeah.
Something to that degree. So that was the sad thing about David Von Erich. Good evening, gentlemen, from Richard Hood. Joel Baton, the missing link, number 89. I am friends with Dark Journey. And she told me, she didn't tell me, but she told everybody. And I don't know if you saw this, Jack. I don't know if you're friends with her or not. But Missing Link and her spent some time in a nudist colony. Yeah. I didn't read the whole thing. I just saw it just passing today.
What an expose.
Maybe we need to get in touch with her and see if she'll come on and kind of explain this a little bit more. What they were doing in the news column. So I will get in touch with her and see if she would like to come on here. And I think we met her a few times. But really didn't have a long conversation with her. Dr. Philbo Grice is with us. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Let's go down to Mickey Mayfield. Let's go down to Mickey Mayfield. Well, I just hit something wrong here. Mickey Mayfield, my number 89, Bruno Sammartino, former WWF junior. I'm glad you said Bruno Sammartino Jr. because we might have thought you was talking about Bruno Sammartino Jr. He would eventually, didn't what he called that prior to being called David Sammartino?
He did, yeah.
Yes.
David Sammartino is his name.
Right.
And he was a great guy. I saw him and Joel Deaton absolutely kill each other in a match in Rome, Georgia one night. And one of the best matches I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great. He just didn't get along with people for some reason.
He got along with Joe because Joe could hang with him.
I just still remember him and Les Thornton just beating him up on television. I mean, he just beat him.
I'll be honest. I worked 3 or 4 shows with him. He was always nice in the back. So, but I did hear he had that reputation. I don't know.
I don't know what happened. And Les is not here to tell us anymore, so we don't know what was going on. I'm here to chew bubble gum and pick Roddy Piper as my number 81. And I'm all out of bubble gum. Dude was very underrated and deserved a world heavyweight title. I believe that he was the kind of guy that didn't need it.
Yeah.
He didn't need a title. He could get over without it. What do y'all guys think?
I agree with that. I don't think he needed a championship. He was so over a title run, unless there was a situation where the title needed to be built up. He would have been the guy that would have made the belt more significant, not the other way around.
I agree. Rodney Piper.
Yeah, no title run for him for sure, because he was he was a what you call, he was an antagonist. So he could go in and he didn't need the belt to draw, and that's the key. If you don't need it to draw, well, put it on him. Some other people could use it, like Bruno Sammartino obviously had to have a belt to draw. Roddy Piper though did not have to have one. He could just wear a skirt and draw money.
Yeah,
Roddy Piper much higher on my list. Roddy Piper was he came to Atlanta. The first time we ever saw him was 1982, I believe. Is that the year you come to Atlanta?
Yes.
1982, and instantly I thought this man brought a new level to Georgia Championship Wrestling with Gordon. So
yes.
Yes,
tremendous team. And if you haven't seen his stay in Georgia, you got to check it out because it set a standard that went on forever. The idea of a wrestler being a commentator, you'll see the WWF take that up and use it in a big way. And Piper actually was commentating up there as well. But yeah, he was tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And we didn't get to see, mostly he did not work in Georgia. He worked in Ohio, but those crowds in Ohio, West Virginia, Michigan were awesome, just outstanding crowds.
Michael Barr, Sputnik Monroe, number 89. Yeah. I agree with that. Drew a lot of money everywhere he went. Jack Sputnik Monroe.
As anybody who's watched this show long term knows, Sputnik Monroe is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He definitely deserves to be in the 100. He is in my 100 list, and you'll just have to stay tuned over the next year or so to find out.
That's true.
Because it's going to be a little while till we get to him on my list.
Rodney Sputnik Monroe.
Yeah, truly innovator, and absolutely drew everywhere he went, whether it was Georgia or in Tennessee. Tremendous wrestler and tremendous person.
Lane Crooks said, I saw him. I think he was talking about probably the Fargos and that stuff that was on Memphis. I'm thinking because that's what we was talking about, I think. Ashley Jackson. Ashley Jackson says, hey, Jack, and everyone else.
Hey, Ashley.
Michael Barr, I would put Jerry Stubbs in my top 80s. He belongs there, Michael. There's no doubt he belongs. And a lot of people, a lot of people's not going to know who he is, but go look at the body of work. Go see some of the matches that you'll see why he needs to be on the top 100. Joe Bateman, Roddy Piper is on my list. Yes, sir. Rick Brooks, number 89, Ted DiBiase. I'm going to put Ted DiBiase and I don't know exactly where he was at, but he's going to be way on that list. Even though Ted DiBiase said that Bill Dundee hot shot at Mid-South Wrestling, that's the only thing that I disagree with Ted DiBiase about. He did not hot shot the territory. But Ted DiBiase was one of the best wrestlers inside the ring. Barring him, he would have been a great world champion. Ted DiBiase would have been a good world champion. Jack, what do you think about Ted DiBiase?
Oh, I totally agree. Ted has said a few things over the years that I haven't agreed with, but when you come to a body of work of what he had in that ring, there was few better than Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, Rodney?
Yeah, DiBiase was a working wrestling machine. No matter when you saw him and what position that he had, he was given 100%. You can check him out when he was the Missouri State champion, the North American champion, worked with Ole at World Championship Wrestling, the national champion there. He would have been a star and would be a star anywhere he went. Ted DiBiase, awesome.
Dr. Philbo Grice, Jerry Stubbs, one of the best as face our heel. I always liked Jerry Stubbs though as a heel. I don't know why, but I just thought that fit him a whole lot better. Not that Jerry Stubbs is a bad guy. He's a great guy. One of the best people I think I ever met in the wrestling business. Him and Brad Armstrong, I put there in a level. They were both just always up. You never seen them where they made you feel like, man, I wish I wouldn't have talked to him. I feel bad about it
exactly.
Now. There are some guys out there.
It speaks what Doctor was saying here. It speaks to Jerry Stubbs' talent to be able to do either or and be in a single or a tag team. I mean, we saw some fantastic tag team matches with him, Dirty White Boy, and the Nightmares. Just tremendous matches.
All right, Victor Nash said I skipped his.
I think you got him.
Did I get
saw
him?
that. Yeah, I think I did see you cover him.
Okay, all right.
I think when he posted that, you hadn't got to his original pick yet.
Oh, okay. All right. I just want to make sure that I did get his get that in there. Terrence Hardy, rest in peace, Jody Hamilton. See, I will not. People replying to each other. Joe Bateman, the Destroyer, Dick Breyer on my list, up high on it. Yes. I'm pretty sure the Destroyer Dick Breyer has made my list. No doubt about that. He was tremendous. I think I've showed before. I even had one of his masks that he used to sell in the magazines. Just tremendous. And you know what? He took Japan wrestling when it was down. He goes to Japan and just it explodes by him being there, and you just have to say a lot, and no matter where he went, and he was always a liked person. Jack, I think you had talked about him before you had met him, and
I did. I took a show to upstate New York 20 years ago now, and got up there, found out we were going to have to do a full TV production, the whole 9 yards, and I was the only one. I mean, I was running everything, but then I had to take care of that too. And I didn't know that they had asked Dick to come and do commentary, and he came about lunch that day. Didn't ask any questions. Didn't say, just sat down with me and helped me put everything together. And then later that afternoon, we got to spend time together and just talk about his time in Alabama and the South and how much he loved it. And it was just an overall one of the best days that I had. It was busy and I was wore out, but boy, it was great.
Rodney, the Destroyer.
Yeah, tremendous. Like we were talking about, we had his mask. We watched it was black when we first got it, the black outline, and we watched it so much turn brown. It was had Destroyer on it. We love that. We love that mask, and yeah, Destroyer just a great
we were the Destroyers.
That's right,
times.
And we destroyed not opponents but property all over the place.
We used to have, before it was fashion, we used to have backyard wrestling matches.
That's right.
The whole neighborhood. We'd have the whole neighborhood out. And me and Rodney always, the Andersons were our guys. So everybody would tell them, once we got the arm, they'd say, well, might as well, it's over. It's over. They got the arms. Right. You ain't never going to let you go. They're going to tag in and out, and you might as well go ahead and say, I'm through.
They got to the point they wouldn't let us team together anymore.
Yes, we were.
Nope, y'all gonna be a team. Nope, we'll go home instead.
Yes.
We took our lot bright and stuck it up in the tree.
It was our ring light. For a long time, we had a mat, and that got sold. But it was always on the floor. We had no wrestling ring, but we had a wrestling mat, and you'd fall on rocks and everything else. But it was fine. It was, we wasn't the modern day wrestler. We didn't care if we fell on something hard. Ken Patera, number 89. I always liked Ken Patera. I thought his interviews was great. He didn't get over in Georgia, but that was just a bad time for Georgia. But everywhere else, he did well, and he drew a lot of money. Rodney, Ken Patera.
Ken, like you were saying, and he did tremendous in the Mid-Atlantic. He did tremendous up in the Central States. But Georgia, something just didn't click there at all. I think he was at the wrong time for sure. And I think the way they tried to build him wasn't going to work. And I'm not sure that Tommy Rich was the right opponent for him either.
Yeah, it could have been that. What do you think about Ken Patera? Jack?
I always thought he had a great career, impressive, legitimate, one of the strongest guys in the world. And you can't buy that. That's publicity right there that, you can't buy. But he was so good in the ring and had such a great look all of his career too.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when he worked for the WWF, he was Intercontinental Champion. Yep. And he really had a good run as Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, he did good except for Georgia. That was the only place I saw him. I just didn't click. Richard Hood, rest in peace, Jody Hamilton. Let's see, Joel Bateman, David Von Erich would be in his 50. It would be in at 50, and I think it would be a good place. I don't think David Von Erich made my list, but I can see David Von Erich, the Von Erich
certainly deserving. Yeah.
Yes.
He does.
We had a photograph on our Facebook page, and Jerry Blackwell had the Missouri title in it. So if you have not seen the Missouri title, you can go back and look at our Facebook page. I think that was either today, might have been yesterday, that we had a photograph of Jerry Blackwell with the Missouri title. Just seen a shoot on it, some kind of shoot. I don't know about what we were talking about. Victor Nash. I did some research on Ric Flair. He's actually a 25-time. Well, that only meant that he lost that title 25 times. Now, remember that there, Victor. 25-time world champion, not counting his tag titles or other titles. WWE only has him a 16-time champion. I just remember who did the interview that time, and they were doing the interview, and he said, "Well, you don't understand. I'm 16 time," and the guy said, "Well, that meant you only lost the title 16 times. I've never lost it at all." I can't remember who that was. He made some sense right there.
Yeah, there was a lot of title changes that they did that was never recognized by the NWA.
Yeah, I don't. Richard Hood said, "Brent, I see you like, yeah, I loved old Dark Journey. I thought she was tremendous. I thought she was tremendous at what she got over everything she did. Look good. I always liked her." Let's see. Chad said, "I think that crazy Dick Slater should be on the list as well." Yes, Dick Slater's going to be on my list. I'm not going to ask Rodney. You won't let us know, but Jack, Dick Slater, Mr. Unpredictable, Mr. Excitement.
One of my favorite guys ever.
Yes, and that's another person that's on one of my top 10 the best matches ever saw, wrestling too, and Dick Slater. Not just one match, a series of matches. Probably what would you think, Rodney? 9-10 weeks?
Oh yeah, and yeah, every bit of it. 8, I believe, at least 2 months, and that place was jam packed every single week. And I don't think they ever reached that level. Well, I take that back. The last big crowd in Rome was Dick Slater against Stan Hansen for the Georgia title. This is right after Stan Hansen won it.
Very good. Rome, Georgia used to be a great wrestling town, by the way. Bruno Sammartino in my top 10. Joe Bateman, and should be. It should be, even though Rodney is not a big fan of Bruno Sammartino.
I did not say that. I did not say I was not a big fan. I'm just saying it was important for him to be champion.
I got you. All right. All right. I thought I read something in between the lines or something.
No. It was very, I'm legitimate. It was important for Sammartino to be the world champion. There's not many people that I would say that. Hulk Hogan, after he lost it wasn't necessary for him to be champion again. But Bruno, for whatever reason, he and that WWF title were synonymous with one another. Just really was. And I'm not trying, that's not being a knock or nothing. It's just Bruno Sammartino. And when you think of the WWF championship and that the belt that he wore, all you think of is Bruno Sammartino. Doesn't matter if Billy Graham held it or Bob Backlund. Anytime you thought of that title, you thought of Bruno Sammartino.
And don't forget Pedro Morales was the champion.
Yes.
Jack, what do you think, Bruno Sammartino?
And I love Bruno. I thought he was very good at what he did. I thought, certainly he was limited on what he did, but I thought what he did do was done very well. And if you don't even watch him in the ring and just watch the crowd reaction, that'll tell you he was over huge.
Yes, and I'm not for sure that Pedro Morales wasn't over more than he was.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree.
Even Ivan Husky was over.
Yeah.
And
they understood their crowds there. We often say that style of wrestling wouldn't work in the South, and it's true. I don't believe it would. But they understood what those crowds up there wanted and needed, and they provided that for them.
They understood the demographic. They truly did understand each town's demographic, and that's very important. King Kong Bundy would be in Richard Hood's top 20.
Yeah, he's big. He's a big man that can move.
Oh, yeah. I always like King Kong Bundy. The 5 count.
The 5 count. That's right. The avalanche in the corner and then the big slam, power slam. Yeah.
Dog collar match, the best ever. Yes, I always like the dog collar matches. Piper worked well in WCW. Michael Barr. I thought his stuff was good until Russo tried to tell him what to say.
Yeah.
That was the end of that. Victor Nash said Jerry Stubbs higher on his list. Victor Nash says he's higher on his list. Piper worked.
Jerry Stubbs could be in a top 10.
Yes, he could.
He really could. I mean, arbitrarily, we're not. You could change these numbers around at any time. Sure. They're not sealed in stone or etched in stone.
We don't have the Hall of Fame somewhere setting, and they're going to get stuck there in that position. It's they could be in any position. Those guys were just tremendous at what they did, and there's some that didn't make the list that should be there.
Yeah,
and some people that don't even know. But Pat Rose should be on the list. Pat Rose was tremendous. Knew what he was supposed to do when he got in the ring. Mike Jackson knew what he was supposed to do when he got in the ring.
I think Pat Rose is great, and I hope he's watching because he's buying me a beer Friday night.
All right.
Let's see. Where was that? Did I miss somebody? Richard Hood. Guys, nobody knew who Piper was when he showed up in Georgia unless somehow they watched Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. That's true.
Yep.
They did not realize he was a wrestler. They thought he was a commentator. One they didn't like. Michael Hayes told the story, and I think he tells it great when he says that they needed to establish that he was a wrestler. And they did. And I don't think the Omni drew as well because they thought, well, what's Bob Armstrong going to beat up that commentator? What did he do? He's going to beat him up. They thought they're just going to see him get beat up. He was an announcer, and he was just going to be beat up. It drew well, don't get me wrong. I think what did he do? 8,000 people?
Probably, well, let's see, probably around 10, I would think, on that particular night.
It wasn't sold out.
No.
It still was good. It still was a good crowd.
No, but there was no sellouts then.
No.
Not at the Omni. No. That had already been harmed. The whole lead up, the change, Booker changes, the talent changes rapidly. There was nothing built for a long period of time except for Wrestling 2 and Superstar. And then you have to remember right along that time was when the loss of the Atlanta City Auditorium, which destroyed the formula for Atlanta, just never was the same. And I'm not sure that Georgia ever seen a sold out Omni after that, after the closure of the Atlanta City Auditorium.
I don't think they did because they didn't have time to build it. It used to do 3 weeks and then the big show, 3 weeks and the big show. And,
right.
And
that goes back to the importance of those weekly shows, especially in the bigger markets. To have them that way, people are paying attention and involved every single week with the show. Whereas if you're only running once a month, we can watch it once every so often and we'll keep up with what's going
on. Glenn Allen said that the Missouri champion Harley didn't think he deserved it. Ted was a 2-time, I guess, Missouri champion. Glenn Allen Shelton. Ted beat Dick Slater in 77 or 78. Well, what about Ted and Jerry Oates belong in any top 100 list because they are tremendous. They were tremendous. If you've not seen it, you can watch a lot of videos of Ted and Jerry Oates. They were so good together.
Good. If I may, I'm not trying to start anything, as you know. But DiBiase was destroyed in Georgia. The Booker put him in as a tag team partner and absolutely left DiBiase where he would never draw in Georgia, period. Not in that position. He had the great opportunity, a tremendous opportunity. He should have been a single wrestler and not a stooge to the lazy one in the ring, just to sit there so you could sell the entire match and make a tag. So DiBiase could have been big in Georgia if he would have been done right in the beginning, but he was already established. And I mean, to stand out there and cry over, well, I'm sorry I lost that car, or running from the Freebirds in the Omni, that's not a way to get a man over. Not in Georgia, as we saw. And so DiBiase could have been bigger in Georgia. And he was, think about it, Mid-South. They didn't do him that way in Mid-South. Didn't do it that way in the Missouri. But in Georgia, it was like it was here. We're going to destroy this man. And in Georgia, really, never really big houses with DiBiase.
By the way, Ted DiBiase went to our father, rode with him to a town, and explained every bit of this. He said, I'm in a position that I'll never get over. If I'm not going to be changed, if we're not going to do something different with me, I'm going to go ahead and leave. And he had all the rights to do so.
Yes.
He was being killed. He was being misused. And he could have been a big star in Georgia.
That was a setback. That was a setback. His stint in Georgia was a setback where everybody else was building him to be the champion, to be actually the world champion, no matter where he went, whether it was Mid-South or, like I said, in the Missouri. But that was from the beginning. He was dead on arrival, and he was absolutely right. And it was frustrating, absolutely frustrating. I remember leaving the Omni that night with the Fantasia Gamble match where DiBiase was going against all three of the Freebirds at the end of this elimination style match. And then he going to go up to ringside and then turns, walks away and walks out. And I was hot when I got in the car. What in the world was that? Well, that's just the way it is. I said, stupid. That was stupid. And that time I was probably 11 years old. And I knew that was not right. And I was 11 years old.
Victor Nash said, time to shake things up for 88 next week.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Victor's going to shake some things up.
Shake it up, Victor.
Higher in my list, Ted and Jerry. It was great. James Taylor talking about the Missouri title. My youth, the assassin, made me nervous. Thought he was a mean man. He came over as a mean man. No doubt about that.
Right. And can you imagine? Now, just think about it for just a second. When you take both Tom Ernesto, which had a great voice as well, and you put him with Jody Hamilton, can you imagine what a team that was? Can you absolutely? I would love to see them. If anybody's got a video of the original assassins, Ernesto and Jody, let us know. But you got to, we didn't get to see them, but you got to know both of them together were unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable.
Black Bart, I believe he's on the. I think he's online. He's done a lot of.
He is. Yeah.
Black Bart didn't make my top 100 list. I like Rick Harris.
Yeah, great guy.
But he's not going to make my top 100 list. I won't ask Rodney. We won't know. But Jack, Rick Harris.
Didn't make my list. Loved sharing a dressing room with him. Great guy. Learned a lot from him.
Would you like me to check my list real quick?
Check it real quick. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and check it real quick. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
Joel Bateman, Kim Patera, definitely on my list. Rick Harris doing good. He's on Facebook. Joel Deaton with us right now. It's hard to make picks when our sport has so many great picks, I think, and many who were great but never get mentioned. And that is the true, Joel. There are so many people. That was Charlie Fulton is one of those guys that never get mentioned. That was just tremendous in the ring. And some of the guys from the Southern Territories never get the, especially Southeastern. The Jimmy Golden, Ron Fuller, they never get mentioned as greats, and they were some of the greats.
Absolutely.
Regardless if you like them or don't like them, they were great in the ring. James Taylor. In my youth, I think we already read that one. Steve Richards. Good evening, guys. Number 89, Canadians' greatest athlete, Gene Kiniski. I will go there with you on that. I believe Gene Kiniski did make my list, and I think he was way, way lower. I'm not for sure, but I believe he did make a list. I went back and looked at this list. Gene Kiniski, Rodney.
Oh, yeah. Just a tremendous wrestler, tremendous athlete. And they've got a chance. Check out when Dory Funk Jr. beats Gene Kiniski for the heavyweight championships in Florida. Check that match out. It is a really, really good. Really good match.
Colton asked this question. He said, Jack, would you put B Square in your top 100? Bull Buchanan, I call Ben B Cube.
Now, in the top 100 of all time, no. In the top, let's just say the top 10 of guys that I ever was in the ring with, he is number 2 right behind Terry Gordy. And, of course, he's one of my best friends, and I love him to death.
Rick Brooks said Dark Journey doesn't look. I thought she still looked good.
I would marry her right now. Right now.
I thought she still looked good. I thought she still looked great. She looked great back then. But I thought she still looked great. So, let's see. Roddy Piper hanging in a tree. Yes, when he was going against Buzz Sawyer for the dog collar match. Very good interview. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
Tremendous interview.
That's
he
right.
really took it himself.
During that whole build up, he also, I think, hit himself in the head with a beer in it, and all over his head. Yeah.
I think Bart. I think he does live in Texas, doesn't he? He's always lived there. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think we got one more here. Oh, by the way, Victor Nash always wants us. We always forget to plug our own T-shirts. We we get so far into what we're doing, we never plug anything. But yes, Pro Wrestling Tees / Pro Wrestling Inside Out. Become a supporter. Hit that like on Facebook. Yes, all you have to do is
good quality tees. I bought this one from ProWrestlingTees.com also.
All right, folks, it is time for us to leave. We are going to go over to our Insider Nation. If you're a supporter, you're going to be going over to there, and we're going to be looking at this program, this magazine right here that Daniel Lang sent to Jack. He sent it to me, and he didn't know I was going to keep them for a couple of months before I gave them to Jack.
We actually had that one until it was destroyed in the flood.
So we're going to our supporter channel, and we are going to look at this. Thank y'all so much. We certainly do appreciate you supporting the channel. We're almost at 35,000 followers, insiders at this point, and we certainly do appreciate that you have supported the channel, and you keep on telling people about it. Just keep on telling them. Also tell all you can that Pro Wrestling Inside and Out will do their first live pro wrestling show on Friday, October 8th. As a matter of fact, me and Rodney will be there and may even go live tomorrow from the Lafayette Rec Center and tell everybody hello. And we certainly hope that everybody will enjoy those matches in October. Yes, Rodney?
Victor has a special request. Jack? Victor has a special request.
Okay, Victor, this is just for you.
He likes it when people rings his bell.
Thank everybody, though. Thank you so much. We certainly do appreciate it. Next week, next Monday, we will do a special tribute show to the Masked Assassin, the Flame, Jody Hamilton. We'll do that on Monday. And then Tuesday, we'll do our top 100 list, number 88. Thank you all so much. We'll end the show since we have no real close or opening anymore. We'll just close it with our video for October 8th. We'll see y'all next week.